Big news on the free-to-play. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free-to-play Hell Hades account, free to pause, and something big happened, as you can see in the background over here. I snagged the cat's gaze. This is going to be account changing because this is absolutely huge. Ignoring 10% of the target's defense when attacking enemies of a higher max HP is going to absolutely be amazing. And I kind of need to figure out which champion I want to throw this on. As far as the ones I'm currently using, the monkey is probably the best to work with. But as far as my plans for building champions out are concerned, it is probably going to end up on Alice. Alice is not yet 6-star, but I think it will probably end up on her anyway, because she already smacks particularly hard. She's got a 2-star soul already, and she will get a 3-star soul soonish in a day or two. And eventually we'll have a 5-star soul. She's going to be my next 6-star, because what I'm planning on doing is making her an arena champion. So first of all, let's make sure we don't sell that. That would be bad. So let's just go through this on Alice and talk to you a little bit about what's been going on the count. So I have, obviously I've got masteries and Wukong is built. This hasn't changed much other than I did pull a 4-star accuracy banner with speed for him, which is absolutely huge. Now I would have preferred this rolled speed over here, but you know what? I am not going to complain. This turned my Wukong build from kind of meh into I have enough accuracy to do well into going up to level 20 dungeons, maybe a little low for some level 20 dungeons, but this is enough accuracy for him to pretty consistently land things, even in arena, and that has definitely helped quite a bit. Plus, the extra speed has helped, so now he's at 190 speed, so he is one of my slower champions of the core 5 or whatever I use, but he still falls in line of what I'm looking to do. Tagore is finally 6-star fully ascended. He is 215 speed. These banners are not particularly exciting. I literally have this thing on because this gives him 10% boost of speed. I might even roll this up once or twice to see if I can hit speed on this, but this is not going above +8. In fact, you know what? Let's do this for the video here. If we can hit speed twice, if Polarium will acknowledge the fact that I can hit something twice. Nope, we got attack. That's not particularly exciting. It's a little extra defense, not a big deal. It was not a big investment to hit those two. It's never going to go past +8, but this is giving me 13.5 speed because it's a pinpoint piece on him. And 13.5 speed on that banner is worth a lot, especially in the early game. Got this banner, this thing as well. This is not super exciting. I haven't bothered rolling this up much either because this will probably end up on somebody else. We do actually have this HP ring here, so this may eventually go on him, but I don't need the extra accuracy at the moment, and I don't feel the investment is incredibly huge to this. But I could certainly roll this up, see if it gets me something better, and that would eventually let me do something like, well, once I get a different amulet or banner to put on my orc, then, you know, that actually could be a little more useful for Tagore than what I've got on him right now. Kale is currently still built to nuke. He's a little bit faster than the monkey, which is fine. He hits really hard. What will probably eventually happen with him is I actually have this wonderful 5-point pinpoint, or 5-star, I should say, pinpoint banner here for him with accuracy. That is not on him yet because you'll notice I lose 376 attack here. That is 10% of his attack. That's actually more than 10% of his attack. So I don't think that will cause a problem with things like campaign farming, but because I use him as one of my primary nukers, I really don't want to lose that much attack on him yet. Once, however, I can build Alice up. Now, Alice has got nearly 3,000 attack. You know, I've got to roll this thing up, and then she'll have more attack. That'll certainly help. Plus, once I 6-star her, her attack is going to jump up significantly. I need to get some more masteries on her. I've gotten some progress here, but I kind of took her out of my mastery grinding because I wanted to grind for my clan boss team first. But she's eventually going to get the 6 stars. She's probably going to end up with Helm Smasher. And now that we actually have the cat's gaze, that's an interesting. Okay, so I've got the one that steals buffs on him. That's still fine. Um, that is going to be less exciting now, so let's not edit this, but let's... Yep, we are going to equip this puppy here. I've got enough to do that. That's fine. All right, so we're at level 7. The ability level is level 2. That means that I get an additional 2% defense out of that. Once I can get that to level 3, that's an additional 4% defense. So that is ignoring 12% defense up to 14 pretty easily, up to 20 eventually. That's going to be huge. I probably will never actually get it to the 20. Do we have any gems at all? I've got some circular gems. I've got these things here. Turn meter, decrease effects are 10% less effective on the wearer. Sure, why not? And then we can certainly work on getting more stuff. I just have to run some Chimera, and the next time we get a Chimera chest, I will have more stuff to be able to finish leveling this up. That's not really going to be a problem. Relics, honestly, this is still 18% crit damage. That's huge, you know. I mean, not that her crit damage is super high, but once I ascend her, that's going to be another 13% there. That's going to be huge. We can get this up to probably like 24%. So we're going to have 150-ish crit damage on her. She will pile up a ton of attack, and she's now going to be ignoring some defense. That is going to be absolutely huge for an arena nuker, which is good because arena's sort of where I've been stuck for a little bit. So talking for the missions here, we are on the upgrade to affinity bonuses mission here. I need some more for that. Then we've got the Fire Knight, shouldn't be a problem. Upgrade 4 champs to level 60. This is going to happen soon enough. Spider stage 10 shouldn't be too hard. I just need to win 1 banner from that, so that's really easy. The Ascension 4 champions, that's going to take a little bit of effort, but I'm actually really close to it, and I think I just need some arcane pots to be able to put Geo up to 6 stars, and that will be certainly very helpful as well. We've got the Demon Lord one here, and then I can fuse Relic Keeper. I actually have all of the champions to fuse Relic Keeper, so we've got Justiceer here. He's 4-star level 11. I've got 2 of these dudes, and I decided I wanted to keep one of them, so I actually farmed a second one. This one's level 17, 4-star, 21, 4-star, 17, 4-star. So they're making progress. They're within striking distance, and if it comes to a point where I need to just brew them up, I can brew them up with what I've got already. So that is good news. The Great Hall, however, I am 39 short here of what I need to do. And unfortunately, it has certainly gotten a little bit harder for me because I ended up in gold 2 because I've been grinding this fairly hard. And even some of these one-man teams that I'm spotting here, this one-man Mithrala team, I can't beat. I've tried it once or twice. This is a Mithrala in Stone Skin who just hits too hard, and then I stone myself because I get Polymorph on me, or the Hex, and then she does the stone on me. So just take a look here, see if there are any teams that I can actually possibly take on, and this is an option. In fact, why don't we give this a try for the chat? We can certainly see what I've got here for the team. You know, not a great team here, but I've got a lot of speed compared to a lot of the people I tend to fight, especially considering how I've built my champions. So let us give this a try. All right, get that extra speed up there. I did get outsped by somebody, but that's fine. Decreased defense is great. Can you kill somebody? Not quite, but Monkey can kill you. And all right, we are in good shape because one of their 2 big damage dealers is now gone. And now I just need to get rid of this dude. So get the cleansing off. That'd be great. Poisons. Nope, no poisons. Can I steal stuff? That's great. So yeah, just as long as I can get rid of Rathalos, I have probably won this, because Rathalos is the only other damage we really have, and Monkey's pretty good at doing that. All right, we are good to go. So we should be able to finish this up, and that is 1 win, which unfortunately is only going to be 2 medals towards the goal. So it's progress. It's slow progress. I'm really hoping I'll be able to do it within the next day or 2. But meanwhile, I'm going to be farming masteries and improving my clan boss team because we're darn close. And when I talk about being darn close, you can see here on hard, I have a single key that's doing 17.5 million. I finally got Wardmaster onto Gore, and last night I was able to hit Brutal for 11.8, which is good enough to two key. I was just short of the two key because my previous run had fallen short and I didn't have War Master yet. So I'm pretty sure I can consistently two key Brutal now with having War Master on at least one more champion. Plus, Geo is slowly but surely getting a little more powerful as he levels up. Plus, I've been rolling the gear up slightly here and there. So a little bit of extra damage here, a little bit of extra tankiness there, and eventually we have the champions that can do it. I have found that because I have Geomancer, I am better off trying to wait until we can drop Brutal to an affinity. Without the affinity, it's a little bit harder to hit him. I did drop it last time. It was Force Affinity, which probably is part of the reason why I struggled to two key yesterday. If it's Spirit or if it's Magic Affinity, that should be a lot better overall, because the only bad affinity I would then have would be either the Monkey or Geomancer, and Geomancer's place doesn't care about affinity. But hey, we're working on getting a two-key Brutal, which is going to be super helpful. Eventually, this Grandmaster chest has got a much better chance of dropping this epic book, and this epic book is absolutely amazing. Basically, if I get a book, I get an epic book out of this chest, which makes this chest so much more valuable, although the master chest isn't too bad necessarily as well, but the chances aren't as good. And then we can certainly slowly work on maybe climbing up to be able to one key Brutal, and once I feel I can one key Brutal, my plan is to then move into Nightmare to see if we can go for Nightmare. But our clan is not quite taking down Brutal yet. I think we got it down to like 30% last night, so I'm kind of hoping that as I get this Brutal 2 key locked in, everyone else will kind of get some sort of Brutal key locked in and we can push. And if it's the point where I'm starting to outrun the clan, I'm certainly going to have to talk to the content organizers. I'm certainly going to have to talk to the organizers and see if I can leave the clan so I can find a clan that can certainly help me do Brutal and maybe even Nightmare, and actually get the proper rewards for them. So we are at CVC, and we scored very, very well in the previous CVC, so I don't expect us to necessarily win this one, and that's perfectly fine. Because honestly, the only thing I really care about is as long as our clan gets up to this and I get this epic book, I will be super happy. In fact, I will claim this right now because that is 3 extra chickens that I don't need to farm other stuff for. I've got a couple champions ready to level up to level 4, so that will be great. We are certainly looking for saving some shards. Now, as I've started saving some shards, I haven't gotten many. I've only got the one ancient. I've gotten a void right here. And yeah, these are certainly slow coming at the moment, but hopefully these start rolling in a little bit because I've been told we should have a fusion announcement later this week. That doesn't mean we're going to have a fusion start next week, but we may start to have some trickles of that fusion. And the good news is if we get the fusion information super early, I can make a decision on whether or not I want to go for that fusion or if I'm going to pass on that fusion. Or maybe I'm going to go for a fusion epic, although I suspect that this next fusion is going to be a fragment fusion, which means, honestly, if it's a fragment fusion, I am probably better off trying to do what I can to get as many fragments as possible, because even if I end up not getting the champion, these chests for mod are actually pretty interesting. There's some good stuff I can get in here. I can get some extra books. The fragments for mod are probably not super helpful, but everything else in here would be huge for my account, especially this feast. Normally, I don't think feasts are that great for my later game accounts, but an early game feast would be absolutely huge because I can simply target an epic, take them immediately to 6-star. That might help my account. Or even if I need to do it, I can target a rare that's going to super help my account as a 6-star and 6-star that rare. So finally, we're back with the champions just to show a few of the things off. As I said, I've got a 2-star soul here for Sun Wukong. That has been absolutely amazing. The Kale soul I've had for quite a while. Geomancer's almost 6-star, and I actually have a 6-star accuracy banner with speed waiting for him. So once I can get him to 6-star ascended, that banner will go on him, and that will be huge. I purchased, in fact, let's go see if we can get that to show up. I got a revenge banner for him. I also got a wonderful revenge banner for my Ogrin Ugo. that also has speed on it. And this is great. This is pretty much the perfect stats I want for Ugo. I wouldn't mind an attack percent just as the extra percentage, but HP and defense, I want her tanky, I want fast. And honestly, regardless of what this rolls, this is going to be super helpful for her once I can get her to 6-star ascended as well. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, Alice is probably my next priority because Alice will help me in arena do significantly more damage, whereas Ugo is mostly doing her job fairly well, other than the little bit of lack of accuracy. But I think Alice will get a lot more damage than Ugo will get accuracy out of making her a 6-star, so Alice is probably the next choice. Other things that I've gotten that are certainly very helpful is I pulled, where is he? Here it is. I pulled a 6-star soul for a Galek after I grabbed a Galek from, I believe it was a mystery shard pull. So I built him to 4 stars right now, and he will eventually get some gear on him to help me with the Orc faction. And in fact, if we sort by factions right here, we can see here I've got 2 Banner Lords that I'm kind of happy with. Courtier's okay, but he's got an AoE, so he's doing some okay damage. Dagger is actually a fairly good rare, so I don't know how much I'm going to invest in Dagger, but Dagger may start getting some of my books. Selenia Nightcloak has actually been kind of interesting right now. She's got a burn. Actually, the burn is right here. It's not an amazing burn, but can get up to 75% chance with books. And then she's got an AoE on a 3-turn that does that increase the duration of any HP burn debuffs, so she can increase that as well. So she could be possibly valuable for faction wars. Prosecutor gives me a chance to do some heal reduction, decrease speed, and turn meter drop against the Fire Knight, so she could be a useful Fire Knight rare, although I've got Bowsmith Flannan, who does a pretty good job and does most of what she does with the ally attack, which I think is a little bit better. We've got a bunch of people in the Sacred Order, but we're going to lose Templar and Justiciar, but we're going to gain Relic Keeper, who, while not a great champion, will be able to do some damage, so I'll probably throw some gear on him, leave him at 4-star, and help him do some work. We've got an Armiger we're slowly working on. Haven't invested a lot into this particular Armiger, but we're working on him. Looking in the Barbarians, I certainly would love to get a War Maiden, but Sentinel is actually really good. Sentinel's got the Provoke on the A1. He has decrease attack and heal reduction on the A2, and those are actually it's a low version of decrease attack. It is the big version of heal reduction once he's ascended, but this actually hits fairly hard. But he also has a 10% HP heal at the start of his turn, which makes him very, very good for early farming for faction wars, and actually makes him fairly good for some of the secret rooms later on, because I believe he's an HP champion as well. So he will probably go to at least 4 stars. He's got some okay gear on him. I'm not going to like super invest in him, so I'm not necessarily going to book him up unless I've got a ton of extra books at some point. But super helpful for there. I might start making a shield guard. I've actually never made one, so maybe that's worth it. Ugo, Grimskin, they're doing okay work in the Ogryn, as well as this Rocktooth dude. Rocktooth is there for the rare quest, so I'm going to keep him around. Jizzo's got some okay stuff. Broodlord actually has the AoE stun, so he's been better than I kind of gave him credit for, but these two are kind of carrying my lizards for a little while. And I've got Skullsworn here. He literally is there for the rare quest, just in case. We've got this dude, Meat Cleaver Tog, is actually a pretty solid rare. He's got an revive. It's an ally. It's a 4-turn cooldown. It's not the greatest revive, but they get a continuous heal and some turn meter and stuff, so it's not too bad. And he's got some extra healing here, 4-turn cooldown once booked, so maybe I might invest a few books into him, and then I've got a healer here. And he gets a chance to place extra continuous heals on people, so that's not too terrible. Not a bad champion. He's got a hit on the same one, heals his champion by 2% as well, so he heals himself a little bit, he brings some healing on everyone else, and then does this revive. You know what? That's actually going to be pretty solid for just getting some stuff done in faction wars. So I can't complain too much about that. I've got a Satyr as well. I know he can be very interesting. Maybe I should actually, hide a couple of these champions away just in case. He could be very good against the bosses in this faction as well if we need to go that far. My ogres, my orcs are actually looking pretty good with Tagore, Old Hermit Jorg, Trumbor, and then Galek with some stuff. So I've got 4 usable champions here. If I get a 5th champion, I can start finishing these stars on the orcs. I've not been really focused on that, but there's some pretty decent rewards on this path, so that's certainly worth focusing on. Infernal Baroness does okay damage combined with the Obelisk. There's some stuff here. I did get an Abyssal. Abyssal gives the increased attack and increased defense for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. It's not great. Does have a massive heal here, though, which is actually pretty good. I mean, it's only 50% of their allies, but it's not too bad. You can book him up a bit. And then he's got an AoE here. So he's actually a very usable for Faction Wars early on. So I'm going to keep him around because, it's better than nothing. Looking at the undeads, Karam is about as useless as I expected him to be. I don't think I put a lot of gear on him, so that doesn't help. But honestly, Frozen Banshee mostly does whatever she's doing solo in this stuff here. Sorceress is going away, but I've got a rare already in that faction. We've got Kale and the Dark Elves are doing particularly well. We've got, the Knights Revenants here, so I've got an Executioner. He's got some gear. Executioner is actually pretty solid. He's got the counterattack and increased defense, so you can do some extra damage with him here. He has a chance of placing the stun. If you put him in some lifesteal gear, which I think I have him in my lifesteal gear, when he counterattacks, he'll slowly but surely heal himself, so he'll keep himself kind of alive. And he's got a pretty hard-hitting A2 right here as well, with some chance to decrease speed. So, yeah, he's going to be okay for a rare for a while. Renegade, I have not invested in Renegade much, other than she exists. She's decent, but she's more of an end game or a once I have teams set up, I can think about using her for reset, not really a do some damage or give other support for a while. And then finally, the dwarves. We're doing well with the dwarves because we've got Geomancer here. Phylgia will probably start getting some gear and stuff as well because she's got a bunch of interesting attacks and can do some damage. And my Sylvan Watchers are doing pretty good. So from a roster perspective, I'm starting to fill it out a little bit in Faction Wars, and I think that's going to be some pretty huge progress in Faction Wars. And what Faction Wars progress brings me is the ability to make this 4 and 5-star gear. So we're going to go for some 4 and 5-star gear. Do I have any? I've got a speed charm. Let's see if we can get speed on a 4 or 5-star gear piece, probably a 5-star gear. That is a 5-star perception piece with accuracy, so that is an absolute win. And we'll aim for accuracy on the other ones if I can. Perfect. Those are flat stat boots. That's unfortunate. So those are not really salvageable. I guess I could have maybe kept them because they'd have speed on them as well. Here is a 5-star HP percent chest. This is going to be good because perception by default gives you additional speed if you have a 2-piece set and additional other stats as well. Crit rate doesn't suck to have on these things, but obviously I don't have a lot of HP nukers per se, but that's a good piece to have. So getting more of these things to be able to forge, particularly the 4 and 5-star, will help push my account much, much further than anything in this 3 and 4-star, because I'm definitely not going to be using these for crafting these things here. Even the resilience here, I cannot complain too much about resilience. I certainly am going to save my charms per perception, but we can craft a little bit of resilience here and see, hey, that's not going to get kept. That's tolerable. I can throw that on a random Faction Wars champion. And that's one thing. Some of these gear that is, if it's not terrible, you keep it around and you throw it on a champion. You might end up rolling it up to +8, but it's gear you weren't really worried about saving for anybody important. But literally having a +8 piece of gear on a champion can almost double their stats early on as a low 3-star or even a mid 4-star. And just that doubling of stats turns them from somebody that's going to die within a few hits on a floor to somebody that can actually possibly kill somebody occasionally and help you progress in Faction Wars. So it's good to keep some of these things that are just kind of okay, but not quite. Again, this is kind of okay, but this is a set that's giving me HP and defense. So this is more HP and defense. Good for a defense champion, good for a tank champion of some kind, especially one that's not particularly important. On the other hand, these boots, not worth keeping because that set's not particularly great. So that's where we're at with the free-to-play. I am currently in third place on the content creator program. In fact, let's go look at the list. I am in third place, and that is really impressive. Why is it impressive for me? Because I have not been chasing points exclusively. I've grabbed a few points where I could, but generally my strategy is to not waste energy pushing dungeons. Either I don't need to push because there's not an event for it, or there's not something to gain from running it, or there's not some other quest that involves me getting as high as I can because I want to get the best rewards from it. So I've only been pushing the dungeons for the potions, for example, when I've needed to farm them. But I have had to farm them more recently than some people, so I'm certainly a little bit higher than other people are. I've been at 19 or 20 at a couple of the stages for some of them, and that certainly puts me at the top for those dungeons. I haven't pushed Fire Knight in a while. I haven't pushed Ice Golem very hard in a while. I did have to run a few Ice Golems. I think I'm at level 14 or 15. I was for one of the few champion people that was at level 13 in Fire Knight. I certainly think I could push to 14 or 15 now with the speeds I now have on my account, but being able to push the speeds a little bit further by ascending a couple champions will certainly help as well. Overall, I'm not quite sure exactly why I'm there, other than the fact that I have done so well in Clan Boss. I am in the top 10 in Clan Boss damage dealers right now. And the Clan Boss being one of the bigger places you can get points is probably really what's been keeping me up there. And Clan Boss is important. So from that perspective, I think I'm doing very well. The people above me have pulled multiple legendaries, I believe, in most cases. I know Dante has 2 Harimas and a Tyrant. Neva's got at least a Harima. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to necessarily win the tournament, because having a legendary doesn't automatically help you win. You need a team. And that's been my focus, as I am taking my champions, figuring out what my team is, building that first team, and then slowly but surely I will start making 5 and 6 star champions to put new champions into those teams to replace the ones that are not quite optimal, but just 6 star. And that will eventually help me conquer new dungeons and make progress in Raid. So meanwhile, I've expanded my gear. My gear is actually, I think, in fairly good shape. I'd like to complain about it because I look at it from an endgame player perspective, but I see the builds on several other free-to-play champion tournament stuff, and my builds are better because I have decent 5-star with the right sets or the right substats, and I'm getting most of the stats I need. Clearly, I'm not getting every stat I need, because I certainly would love to get more speed, more accuracy, more crit rate, and more crit damage on a lot of my champions. But in general, I've been able to build what I want to build, be fast enough, strong enough, and good enough to beat most of the content I feel I should be beating at this stage. So I'm doing well, and it's been a push, because I've certainly been pushing hard, but I have been pushing kind of smart. So, we'll see where I'm at the end of this. But the fact that I am number 3 this far in is already a bit of an accomplishment. And if I can finish in the top 10, I will be super, super happy, because there's a lot of really good content creators in here, a lot of really smart people in the game. And honestly, luck is going to play a factor in this. So it would be awesome to win, but with the amount of luck that I've been getting versus the amount of luck other people are getting, I don't know if I am. And that's fine, because all it can take is a couple of lucky pulls, and suddenly somebody else is in the lead. And that's fine. The idea is to have fun, because Raid is a game. So hopefully you guys have been having fun in this video, checking out where my free-to-play is. I appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. It's one of the best ways to support me and my channel. Let's get this free-to-play stuff going. Good luck on your free-to-play crusades, or generally whatever you're doing in Raid. And until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.